Hey, GM, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Coder Dan is switching down, so he'll be back up in a second. Also, somebody remember to start the Gotchibot so we can get that recording going of the event. If you haven't already, there's like a cool post that was dropped about Spirit Force Arena. Lots of updates, but I'll let Coder Dan talk about it. Good morning, Coder.
Hello. Hey, friends. How are we doing?
Doing well. Just going to bring Ace up here. We got Ace, Roxiano, any of the other facilitators. Put your hand up.
Guys.
Hey. Ace, you're going to need to wear some micro headphones or something. Or mute.
Oh, okay.
Getting some echo from you.
Yeah, that should be better now. Oh no, he's still. So you have to mute your mic because it's replaying audio.
Moment.
If y'all are going to be on the stage, invest in some headphones. All right. Well, kicking off another hangout here, friends. And yes, future, I was watching you guys play SFA last night. Looked like a good time. Did you win any matches? I think I saw you getting tanked by who was it? Hawk Tua was doing pretty well.
Yeah, I was getting smacked around by Hawk Tua. I would say I did not win any matches. My Gotchi, I'm personally funding my own universal Gotchi basic income via battles. So it was fun. We got it. Like I had issues. I didn't realize there was like if there's a decimal in your wallet, like I had 0.9 numbers, and that decimal kept screwing me when I was trying to import the money. But once I figured that out, Ghost was in, things were easy.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll get that sorted.
Yeah, I'll say I really like the new layout of the map. You only get 3 lives. The action is so much quicker, and then the roof becomes like having a separate flying bar. It's like these mechanics. The changes are so much fun, but it's also like you have to get used to flying now because you're not thinking about it because you're focused on your AP, and it's like, oh no, I've dropped in the lava. Like it's good.
Yeah. What do you? I don't think we've actually. Like we put some initial numbers in for flying, and then we wanted to see how people thought about it. For that map, I think, how did it feel? Like, could you fly too long or too short? Felt about right.
It felt good. The one thing for me is because I use a controller, I don't do a lot of like I fly, but I don't stay in the air for very long because I would have to hold down the B button while also trying to hit other buttons to fire. So it just becomes a little bit more like difficult. So for me, it's more like fly up and then like get to somewhere. But for other players that are using the space bar, they're up there battling at the very top of the dome. So it is fun. There was one thing I forgot who told me. Maybe it was Schnitzel Death. There's like a hack in a sense where if you stand directly on top of your opponent's head, they can't see you. It's a blind spot. So I was getting wrecked and didn't realize that someone was sniping me right above me. So yeah, the flying thing is fun.
Sick. I'll note that. That seems like a bug. And yeah, you guys were getting a little bit DJing in there. What was the biggest match you did? It was like 4 ghosts, I think I saw.
Yeah, we planned to start higher at 10 ghosts each. But my wallet, because I couldn't get the ghost in at the beginning, we started with 4. And then quickly some of the players were like, I can't put up more than like 2 or 3 at a time. So that is the one thing I would love. Let me as an organizer have the option to like sponsor the whole thing so I can just get the players in just in case some players can't afford the one ghost, half a ghost, 5 ghosts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard you mention that a few times. So it sounds like you're pretty excited about that, being able to do that. Actually, wasn't sure if it was just like an offhand remark or if it's something that you think people would really use and like hold these kind of mini tournaments almost.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would because I have I don't have a huge budget, but I have a regular rewards budget for the Orium game nights. We've switched up game nights to become more like a conversation show. So it's like I want to redirect that towards these games. Like so in Spirit Force Arena, it makes perfect sense because mostly I'm giving away like common wearables or other like, cheaper NFTs. I'd rather just sponsor 4 or 5 games in an hour and just throw in the money and say, guys, go get it. Like, and talk and stream it and have fun.
How was the
Cool.
tournament last time? How's it went? I just was not able to attend.
I was quite entertained.
Yeah, it was
And
fun.
took notes, got a lot of good feedback to give back to the team. So yeah, I think we're pretty close to where we want to be with Spirit Force. Obviously, we've been telling everyone that we've started migrating a little bit of the team to really start pushing forward on Gotchiverse. So we're going to be sharing some pictures again, and maybe I think we have a video too as well of kind of that work in progress. But yeah, I'm quite happy with where SFA is, and really now we just need a little bit more stability. The team will be doing a couple more like hot fixes of some of the issues we've noticed, and then I'd love to, we'd love to be able to do like a tournament with it. I think we might need spectator mode if it's not too big of a lift to be able to actually have like a tournament. We could jump in and watch a match, but there's not too many issues or kind of dependencies left before we could do a full tournament. And yeah, I really want to see a 10-player battle royale. I did notice one comment, I think it was Schnitzel Death, which was something we had actually planned to do, but just didn't get to it, was instead of it being like winner take all, we were going to give second place their money back. Obviously, that would only work if there's 3 or more players. Otherwise, it's a duel. That would be kind of nice, though. Does kind of suck to come in second and like not get anything back. But yeah, it was really entertaining watching you guys, and I think we'll be doing these game nights. I'm actually getting a new computer soon here, so I really am going to be excited to join you guys on a much better computer than my current Intel Mac, and hopefully it'll improve my gameplay.
Awesome. What kind of computer are you gonna get?
Just an upgraded MacBook Pro. Just probably because we're gonna be, we're doing a lot of Unity, and it can be kind of taxing on the system. So gonna really go and get a nice MacBook Pro, probably the Max, what's it called, Max 3 or whatever. Yeah, the M3, and just see. I think that'll hold me for another 5 years. Hoping. Yeah, it's probably a skill issue. You're right, Light Piglet.
Yeah, I hear those are good. I don't really have much experience with those, but I hear they're pretty good.
I was in some of you guys, if you're in Gotchi Gang chat, you saw maybe you've seen my video. Was in the Apple store today, trying the Apple Vision Pro, trying to imagine what would be like to be coding and playing with my Aavegotchis, but they wouldn't let me open up like random websites. Next time I go in there, they'll give me a longer demo. So I'm going to try to get Aavegotchi pulled up on there, see how it feels. Yeah, I've heard the M1's pretty good too. Figure it won't be. I don't like to have to migrate everything like too often. So we'll still keep my Intel for a lot of crypto stuff, and then we'll be using the M3 more for coding and helping the team with testing things and all that. All these awesome games we're making. Thrax, I see you. Let's want to jump in here with something Thrax just shared. Speaking of gotchis, I know Walter is getting a little upgrade here. Just saw this video live on the feed here. I'm gonna have a quick listen to it. Thrax, are you able to come up and talk a little bit about Walter?
How's it going?
M3 Walter. That little body move, like that's the little dance is insane. I'm wondering if that are we gonna be Walter? Or are we gonna be Thrax here? Are you gonna dance on
I'm Thrax
stage?
right now. No, I'm not set up for that. So yeah, this turned into like a huge rabbit hole. I found like loads of different softwares. Basically, on my hunt for looking for Mac happy software, I was looking for just stuff that would run on Mac, and I ended up finding stuff that would allow me to put Walter in a 3D environment of my choosing. I would be able to use multiple tracking things at the same time, so I can track my face with my phone and my arms with my webcam. And if I wanted to, I can get like a mocap suit and do the whole thing. But like, why? Um, but like the cool thing is the software that I found. There's the one that I'm using in that video is called Warudo, and it lets you do combined with the Stream Deck that I have on my desk. Basically, I have hotkeys that I can assign, so I can get him to dance. I can get him to like do whatever I want with his like body, and then the cameras can track my hands. So if I just want to like wave at people or do something like a bit more standard, that'll work.
So I'm sure everyone's wondering how far away are we from artificial Gotchi intelligence, aka being able to attend a call as a Gotchi.
Well, I mean, technically, I can get you set up now. It's just that there's a couple of tweaks that I want to do. I've got the designer currently working on a more extreme mouth, like a bit more cartoony, how it opens and the like how like essentially the range of motion of the mouth, so that you can see it a bit better from when the Gotchi is small. If that works out, then it's going to take like probably another week, and then we'll have that version ready. If not, we'll just have to revert to this current one, and that's ready to go. So, I mean, technically, people can ping me, and I'll explain how to set it up, and we can go from there. I would love it if someone who is going to be doing this a lot and is a decent teacher would learn from me and then disseminate the information, because I want as many gotchis out there as possible.
We'll definitely make a full like blog post when we're ready. We can give it out to kind of core Gotchi gang, but we'll definitely make a full blog post and link to where you can download it once we're basically ready to go like public with it.
Sounds good. I think it might be a little bit of a complicated post, because whether you're on Mac or Windows is a huge difference, and then it's what hardware you're using. Like if you have an iPhone 11 or later, then you can do full facial tracking with your iPhone with the depth camera. If you don't, then you can do webcam. Like it'll still do point tracking, but it's algorithmic instead of LiDAR. So it's not as extreme. It's not as like clean, but it still works. It's a really cool system actually, because like it'll default to the less. It's like your phone. Like if you got great signal, you're on 5G, and then if you're like shitty signal, you're at GPRS or whatever. Like Walter will default back to the less complicated methods of animation if you don't have them.
Very nice. Well, so this will be something I can run pretty easily on my new M3 Mac, right? Should be smooth as butter.
It should be, yes. It's just finding that compatible software. I can't. This HyperX I think works with Mac, but I can't get it to work with my iPhone for some reason. So I don't have a Mac to test it. So we're gonna have to do something.
Okay. We'll schedule some time next week, and I'll try it on my old and new one. Because I've been using that hologram software, which is right now it's only got Miladies on it, so I need to get some gotchis in there. I'm not happy.
What is hologram? Share that with me. I might be.
I think it's hologram dot xyz. Let me check if that's the right URL before I drop it. Become your digital self. Yeah, someone, I forget who told me about this back in the day, but it's got like a lot of the NFT projects are using this, VTubers, live streaming, gaming, and this is the main one. This is why we needed to make it ARKit compatible, because they use ARKit for this.
Yo, Mike Shinoda is on this team. Founder of Linkin Park. I don't know.
From Linkin Park, really?
What?
Shit. That's goated. Yeah, founder. Is he he's an investor? That's wild.
You have my attention.
Yeah. So definitely I don't know what they're doing now, but I'm assuming they're still doing this. So once I think you can just import it directly into Hologram when you download it, but we can also reach out to them and get some gotchis featured there.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good, man.
GM Fifu. So yeah, let's see. Do we have Golden Cross? I see him in the audience here. Shall we talk a little bit about the progress in Gotchiverse? Okay, on the way. Got some cool stuff. Little sharing to do with you guys, and see. We have some cool stuff that we've been cooking up here. Very simple, but I think very enjoyable to share here.
Yeah.
Golden Cross.
Hey guys. Hey everybody. I would say
GM.
simple in presentation, definitely simple, but the ramifications and what it could lead to
Yeah.
is actually quite big. So without further ado, glad to join you guys. Just juggling a few things here in the house. So I was like,
Maybe before we drop it, give a quick
Yeah.
overview of what we've been working on.
Yeah, we had a really good end of week meeting with the Realm team, as they're aptly called. This is the team building SFA and Gotchiverse, and they're kind of multitasking and transitioning to focus mostly on Gotchiverse. And it's really getting exciting because we are doing some more feature work on SFA, and we're kind of finalizing things. So like, no future, what you were just advocating for. I mean, we could do a spike on that and see if that's something we could get in sooner than later. I really think that makes a lot of sense to be able to like sponsor an event and just be like, I don't want people to gamble. I want to offer Ghost to whoever joins my event. I think that's a really cool model. But in between all that kind of stuff, we are trying to like close the lid on those kind of there's a long wish list, and so we're getting really strict and like closing the lid on a lot of those. And the last week has been, it's kind of like a rolling, thing for the different parts of the team. So design has been working here for a few weeks. We've been sharing the designs with you. This last week, Eris and the back end team have been doing more related to like securing the architecture, the foundation of what Gotchiverse 3D will be. And I think we'll know a lot more by next week. It's kind of research week right now. But I would just say that we have a huge advantage that we had the 2D running for all these years. So a lot of that, without being too technical, is like will be recycled. We'll be able to reuse a lot of that data. If you go to gotchiverse.io, you can still visit like the land sale map, and that map actually tracks pixel by pixel very accurately to what the verbatim Gotchiverse is, and that is being translated into 3D. So it's really cool in that regard. So there's stuff like instances and what happens if there's more than 200 players in a particular district at a time. Those are the kind of questions that are being answered right now in terms of design. And then the Unity guys, they're kind of busy finishing up SFA, but it's kind of perfect. As soon as these questions around the architecture of Gotchiverse are super settled, because there are options and decisions to make, then they already have kind of some marching orders and some ideas about what they need to immediately get started on. And so, Dan, maybe we can speak a bit about like what looks to be more and more like the most likely scenario, which is different than what we imagined maybe a month ago. A month ago, we thought the fastest way to market and to get you guys up and farming was to have a single parcel kind of
Right.
Clash of Clans experience. And that is now out the window. That doesn't look like that's the way it's
Yeah.
going to go. We can do better than that.
Devs came back and said, actually, that's going to be harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's going to be harder and more expensive. So we can actually get probably district level experiences right out the box. So what we're talking about is these districts are large. We're talking about 5,000 parcels per district. You guys got to remember this is a big world. And so if we're even able to achieve that, that'll be huge. And then Dan, you'd probably describe this better than me. I mean, I could do it in layman's terms, but it's basically the decision is, do you go kind of Decentraland style is my experience, where it's like stacks of instances, like 3 versions of District 8, for example, running live with 200 players each,
Right.
or shards where it's more about the geography. So there's 200 players within the southwest portion of District 8. And so these are the kind of conversations we're having and decisions we're making. And yeah, maybe you can add to that,
yeah.
Dan.
Yeah, they're called AOI zones. We're all very familiar with them in the Gotchiverse 2D because that's also how we kind of scaled it over there. So the devs believe that's going to be the most likely way to help scale it, which does mean that if you're in like an AOI zone that is at max capacity, I think it means that it would bounce you out. But that's just how it will be. I think there would be a possibility at that point to spin up another instance, but I think we'll be good for a while. I don't anticipate having anyone maxing out the AOI zone of one of the zones like yet for a while.
The weird part, and I think it is manual in the beginning, but the dream is it eventually gets to be dynamic and automated, is that the AOI zone itself gets smaller as more people come in.
Right.
Right. That's the dream. That's like what they believe it can kind of future proof it for, which sounds that is the key that makes it be like, well, no wonder you guys want to go that way. So imagine like there's 200 people within the southwest quarter of District 8. There's more than 200, so now we've got to split that into 2. It like keeps splitting. It's like cells dividing, and they each support the BR200, the 200 players per whatever that defined zone is, until you literally can't fit 200 on a physical space. So it should scale quite nicely eventually. But initially, to get it out the gate, it'll probably be manual. And if we go super viral and that's an issue, like so be it. But they'll be able to eventually build it so it's quite automated.
So I guess the context for why we're even talking about this is before with the individual parcels that we had probably talked about a month ago, you couldn't really see your neighbor, and we were kind of like, okay, we'll get this done first and then add in the district or like the AOI level. But because we're gonna start directly with district, you can actually jump in and you will be able to see what your neighbor is doing, which is similar to how it was in 2D. But we always like, well, we've showed some pictures before to the chat here, and everyone was talking about like the grass. Like, it'd be so cool if the grass could grow. And the more we thought about it, we're just kind of realizing like it would actually be really cool if the grass could grow, and you could not like it's not like a play to earn thing where you're cutting grass to earn like a yield, but you're just cutting the grass because you want to cut the grass and you want to like keep your parcel tidy, and your neighbor can come over and be like, hey, hey Gotchi, or hey Gotchi Bob, you're cutting the grass today. And it's like, it's kind of something that the metaverse I feel like is missing. Like there's not stuff growing, and you're not doing stuff just because you enjoy it. There's so many games that are like very PDE focused, right?
things are too pristine in most of these
Too
Gotchiverse
pristine.
experiences. Yeah, it's like there's actually a type of spooky. I forget, Dan, you showed this to me years ago. Like the kind of spooky that is like a tree floating on an open
Oh,
plain. You know what I'm talking
the
about?
liminal spaces. Yeah.
The liminal space. I feel like that is actually maybe not exactly what we're talking about, but it's kind of what a lot of these metaverses are. They're like too clean. It freaks me
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Thrax is showing an example here. It's like, oh god.
By the
Um,
way, guys, you're discussing the tiles, and not so long ago, we're thinking that maybe tiles could provide you some kind of bonuses. For example, you're talking about the grass, maybe it's gonna give you something like a stealth, or maybe a golden tile can bump your health or something. What you think about that?
so I think for the mini games that are built on a parcel, the like GBS, so the Great Battle Simulator, there's very specific ideas around certain
Yeah.
objects and things you place on your parcel that will have a in-game effect. And so I think stealth is an interesting one, and grass would be a good candidate for that. So that, turned on its head would be a good reason to not cut your grass. Let it grow and get a little
Hide
more
behind it.
stealth. Yeah. So there's walls. There's going to be just tall grass, I guess. So one of the things we're trying to figure out is how tall can the grass go right now. But to finish Dan's point here, it's like there are things for yield and for in-game benefits like stealth, but then in the meta game and the regular Gotchiverse, there's also got to be things that just are a way to signal that you're active in the metaverse, and even a lower like vibration than signaling is just like maybe it's a higher vibration is just signaling like to yourself that you are having a good time here and it's very zen and you're just having a good time and taking
Yeah.
care of what you care about. And in that case, there is maybe we don't even give a badge. We're like, should we even give a badge for
I
like?
know.
It's like maybe not.
The
Maybe literally
reward
like
is the action itself. Like it's just
there's nothing
fun
better.
and relaxing to like this is why people like Minecraft because you're just like in the zone, you're doing your thing. It's
Yep.
very relaxing to be able to like take care of something that you like. It's kind of like almost the parcel is almost like a Tamagotchi in a way.
Yeah, it's like digging and cutting trees in the metaverse are like that's P0. That's like the key thing to start from. And there are some indirect benefits to doing those actions for sure. But the more you abstract them away and not be like, you cut 100 trees, here's your yield. There's something to that. So there's also this whole
Yeah.
subgenre of like maintenance games, right? They're like pressure washer 2.0 and car wash 1000 and there's something going on here where people just want to chill.
Yeah, not
So
everyone. It's not everyone's gonna be like into it, but for
yeah,
the people that do enjoy it, like it'd be something I'd be in there. Like I want to have like a camera set up on my parcel and be able to like open a DAP or something and be able to see my grass growing and like know okay it's getting long or I need to jump in today and take some time and do my parcel cleanup. And yeah, there's got to be ASMR like not I don't know about like whispering, but sound effects and stuff for it to make it
it,
feel good.
if it's not enjoyable, if it doesn't feel good, then there's no point in doing it. Like I see Musashi's point. I totally get it. Like we don't want every shitty aspect of life built into the metaverse. Um, but if you're, you know, I'll use my dad as an example. He's like, I look forward to cutting my grass. I need my grass to grow, or it's not a good summer. Like he needs that reason to be outside the house and crafting his land into what he wants it to be, kind of thing. Um, Not said in those words, but that's kind of the idea. So if you're on the block and you can signal like, hey, these are my installations and they're better maintained than my neighbor's installations. I'm not saying that's the central point of the game, but this is something that we are thinking about and working through some concepts this week. And
Yeah.
want to see what you guys think.
Yeah, it can't be all yield. Like if everything is yield, first of all, you're just going to get bots And then there's got to be this sense of like pride and accomplishment. And it's really worked on the district level. You could almost imagine like people leaving you a letter and be like, yo, could you clean your grass, man? Like, it's cut your grass. It's been a while. It's overflowing. We're trying to keep our district clean here. I think it would be a very fun dynamic that the metaverse is always cold and sterile and clean, and there's no sense of like, actually you gotta do a little work to take care of it.
There's also the dynamic of public and private spaces, which makes it really interesting. So yeah, you can make your parcel, better up to date than everyone next to you, and signal you're active and you're present. And there's a lot of ways to do that. But then in like public areas, it's kind of free for all. Like, it's not even cutting the grass. It might be the move might be like, I hope nobody cuts this grass. I want it to grow taller and like do some landscaping, like, have a short grass to grass that's as high as an altar, a golden altar level 9, like kind of dynamic. So there could be a lot of playfulness with it, I guess, is the other option. Gotta have the playfulness.
Yeah.
So with
that, yeah, maybe that's too much
Yeah.
of a build-up, but
yeah, but here's touching some grass in the Gotchiverse. So, quick example of what's possible. We got our
Good.
classic pixel grass. It's growing. And I mean, just the logical leap is like, if it can grow, can we cut it?
Or I'd be doing that. I would buy up all the grass tiles and just put them on my parcel and let the grass grow to like level 9, and then just that'd be like my afternoon. Put some nice music on and just be in there cutting my grass.
Get your lo-fi beats or whatever you prefer, and just Yep. So interesting. Interested to see what you guys think. Like, there's a certain like technical limit. Like, we don't want any one uh, installation, even grass, to be too heavy, as in too many various animations attached to it. But there could be 9 levels of grass, guys. Like, how high do you want it to go? Or it could just be like binary. It could be like, it's growing or it's not growing.
Yeah.
Or anything in between. So there's so many decisions when you're making a metaverse, and we have to pick and choose what we focus on. But this was a nice kind of low risk thing where like we can have some fun with the grass.
It's gotta have the vibes. I mean, I think the metaverse, all the metaverses we've seen are like, they don't have a vibe to them. I want just like a vibe to this. You come in the Gotchiverse and you feel like, oh, this is a cool place. This is somewhere I'd want to hang out and just spend some time. And yeah, I think part of that is just feeling like you can shape the space a little bit, and you know, having your own parcel, you can do that sort of work on it and kind of make it your own. Really, make it feel like home.
Yeah, and that way it's not really about cutting the grass. It's actually about modifying the environment in a dynamic way, right? Like having some impact in real time. And grass is just one example. I don't know if we want to go into the list of like ways you can play this out. It gets pretty crazy. But
one area we took this really to the extreme. I'd love to hear what people think. Obviously, this is like going to be a little bit controversial. You know, not people are going to like it and not like it. That's inevitable. But one idea, I think we even had this back in the Gotchiverse 2D, was to allow people to like upgrade the roads in your district. Like, anyone could walk up to a road and kind of, you know, how we do in the US, we have like adopt a highway, like adopt the road and spend some alchemica or some glitter and actually make like improving the road, making people move faster. This could be a whole district could be like, you know what, we're gonna invest in our roads and allow you to move faster. And if you, on the flip side, if you don't invest in your roads as a district, no one's taking care of the highways. They might get potholes, and you actually might get slower when you're on a road. You're like, oh man, it's like District 12 needs to step their game up. District 2 and 1 over here with their super roads. So on a district level, you could kind of signal whether or not people are taking care of their district or not. I think that'd be really an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, I can't speak for other parts of the world, but if you're in the US listening to this, it's like the most obvious way
Yeah.
you can take pride in your state. I'm
Yeah.
in Illinois a lot, and it's like as soon as if I'm on a road trip and I like cross back into Illinois, I could have my eyes closed and I know I'm like, oh, we just crossed the
Same
border.
between, I think it's like Virginia and like North Carolina, I think, or North Carolina, and maybe it was South Carolina. I think like when I used to go to university in South Carolina, and then the moment you cross from North Carolina to South Carolina, like it's a huge difference. South Carolina much better, by the way, than North Carolina. Their roads were fucked when I was there. It's like they really, I don't know. It kind of shows how the level of the state or the district is managed.
It's the first thing people realize, right?
Yeah.
So like we could do street lights, we can do like exclusive skin packs for certain districts. All those things are possible, but out the gate, it seems like roads are the very first thing that people, in a particular district could have a gravitate towards and have an impact on, and actually, allocate some of their glitter or alchemica towards. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I think it's got some more planning to do, and we'd love your guys' contributions and opinions on that. But um, I know I've heard in the district or in the Discord over the years, like you guys want to adopt a highway, and so we could do both. You'd be like, there are levels there's like neutral, like standard road. Then imagine 2, 3, 4 levels on one side of improvements that you could do at a district level, or if you adopt it as an individual, you could do. And then also if it's neglected, like, wow, District 7 has just got nobody stepping up. Shit.
Yeah.
What kind of district is this?
So yeah, I think it's something we're really, really excited about doing and trying out. So it shouldn't be too big on like a lift on the dev side, but yeah, part of just when we do get this the Gotchiverse out, making sure there's like things to do and kind of take care of it as you would a pet. It's almost like a pet, like a Tamagotchi for the whole community. We can all take care of it together.
Yeah, our pets are taking care of land that is like a pet. Your parcel becomes a pet. Your district is a pet. There's levels to this. And then also the name, right? Like if we do go with the adopt a highway, if there's a demand for that, it should go to reason that whoever adopted that, it might even use like a bidding system or something. Like you bid to get rid of the potholes and make sure it's maintained at a good level. And then if somebody comes along and outbids you, they get to name the road whatever they want, or it's their name attached to it.
Yeah.
So very, very interested. This is a good point to call out, which is like something we're doing internally, and it's very organic. It doesn't have to be like formalized in any way, but you guys know we love a Notion, we love a Google Doc, whatever's shareable. So you guys never need to feel like asking for permission. If you have an idea or a concept around some of the stuff we're talking about here, and you want to flesh it out, or take ChatGPT and flesh it out, or do it yourself, whatever, just copy paste that stuff into a doc and send it our way. We will read it. So we can make sure that we're building something that everybody's going to like, and also just you guys may think of things we just haven't thought of, because that's part of this whole experiment. So just a quick reminder to that. We welcome your messages and DMs, or put them in the public chats.
Yeah, totally.
Even better.
I just on to conclude that we are actively working, obviously, on the farming and getting that done in time. These are kind of just extra things that we wanted to share, some ideas that we're having on how to kind of set a new vibe and for the Gotchiverse, kind of a new beginning for it.
Yeah, totally. Don't want to give the impression we're just like daydreaming about Adopt a Highway 3 years into this. So yeah, this is in addition to all the typical stuff we have to take care of. I can give you guys an example of one of those things, which is we were talking about the architecture and the ground layer, and there's like recycling the JSON files from Gotchiverse 2D, which again, going back to Gotchiverse.io, you can go there right now and see that map, mapping that into Unity. And to do that, if basically a couple of weeks from now, we were talking about this on the Wednesday Spaces, at some point in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to push a button. It's all mathematical, generative. So like they're going to push a button and all the right assets are going to automatically generate in the right location. And that means roads, that means parcels, their borders, and I guess the alchemical pools, right? So those assets then need to be designed and in place. And so just the most recent one here I can show you is this will be your first time seeing the alchemical pools, the boosts, mocked up and working in our staging area. So let me drop that in real quick. You guys will recognize these for sure. FUD, Alpha, FOMO, and Kick.
Oh, we got the patterns, the animations going too.
Yeah, they're
Looks
a little
like they're-
different than before. A little treadmill-y. We gotta work it out, but I think it's not too bad. Alchemica making an entrance into the Gotchiverse. 3D. It's quite hypnotic. I need to. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, really, this was the last piece of the puzzle. I don't think there's anything left that when the backend team is like, we're ready, let's push the button and generate every district. I mean, they're telling me that's the easy part. Like that's the beauty of all this work we've put in over the last few years. Like we aren't manually rebuilding these massive parcels and districts. This is going to be really fast, slow, and then really fast.
My probably my biggest worry for Gotchiverse, and this is something I'd love to hear people's perspective on, is like with SFA, we've introduced champions, so people that don't have gotchis can still play. They're kind of playing as a mid gotchi, like it's not particularly strong. You can make a much better Web3 gotchi. But it's because it's like more of a battle royale, we can do that pretty easily. For Gotchiverse, as a more of a metaverse game, if we were to say go in the direction of like a RuneScape with it and introduce, a bunch of skills and talent and all that, sure, we can do that. But there's only 25 or 20,000 gotchis, and a lot of the, gotchis, yes, we can just tell people to buy gotchis to play, but at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't going to play unless they have like a free to play option. So probably the number one worry I have is that the Gotchiverse ends up being like a place that only asset owners that have our assets already are going to want to play. And especially if we were to go like in a more of a quest and skill driven kind of system, the people aren't actually going to have like it would be kind of weird to like borrow a gotchi that has those skills, because I can't think of any like in an MMORPG where you're actively borrowing an avatar from someone that's already got skills and you just jump into the game and use like, this guy's got level 38 fishing. That seems so weird from an MMORPG perspective. So yeah, I just wanted to see what We've kind of solved it in SFA. We've kind of solved it in Gotchi Guardians with the Guardian system, and there's a lot of ideas for NFT integration into that. But the metaverse is a tricky animal because you can't just say, mint a free Gotchi, because then we're obviously diluting Gotchis. We don't really want to do that. But we also can't say anyone can come in and then compete in like a Pixels Online or Pirate Nation. That everyone's kind of doing these like free trial avatar, and then you can level that thing up.
What if we had like time release Gotchi that like auto died after some time?
There's a lot of possibilities. This is something I've thought about a lot. There's a lot of possibilities we could do. Most of them involve, at the end of the day, they involve kind of diluting the actual existence of real Gotchis.
What about licks?
Like you're not gonna be cutting grass as a lick, or you're not gonna be like farming as a lick.
True.
Or there's a lot of other ideas for in-game experiences we'd want to do. You're not going to be doing those as a lick. And yeah, you might borrow a Gotchi, or you might even buy a Gotchi to do it, but the majority of probably the 8 billion people on this planet, like it's really hard to convince someone to spend 300 USD on an NFT to come in and play a game they've never played before. And yeah, we have observers too. But again, if we're trying to give someone like a feeling of progression, like, oh, you're leveling up, say we introduce like a fishing mini game. Can you and we had levels to that fishing, where would that be tied to? Would it be the Gotchi that you're playing, free to play Gotchi, or would it be like the player profile?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I see like one way would be that you can't progress if you don't have a Gotchi. Like you can only save basically if you have a Gotchi, but then that defeats the purpose a little bit.
Yeah, this has been having the kind of our level of NFTs is it's interesting because we have a lot of NFTs that could potentially, like, we could support up to 25,000 players theoretically if everyone only had one. Obviously they don't, but we also don't want to go and like mint, do 10 more haunts to get us to 500,000. Everyone's got a free Gotchi. That's not good either.
True. We've already started tying some traits to the Gotchi directly, like forging level and things like that.
Forging,
so I don't know.
Exactly.
Like, do we want to continue down that route? If we switch from that to tying it to the player wallet, then would we tie forging level to the player wallet also?
Yeah. These are all open questions, really. I've thought about that exact question and be like, I don't know. It makes sense, but at the end of the day, we only have 25,000 Gotchis, so
like
we have to have a way for like a free to play player to come in and try stuff like we've done with SFA and Guardians.
So intuitively, the way that comes to me is that you tie the skills to the player wallet, but then if you have a Gotchi, then the traits act as a multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
So you can level up and you can be great without a Gotchi, cool. But then if you have a Gotchi, you'll get a multiplier.
I always thought that plan for free to play was liquidators.
Those were specifically for like playing in the Great Battle, not what we're talking about here. We're talking about if I want to have the experiences that a Gotchi has, but I don't own a Gotchi, and we're trying to attract people to become Gotchi owners, right? At the end of the day, what we want is a funnel to be able to go out and get free to play players that a certain percentage of them are going to want to own a real Gotchi at the end of the day. But if you don't have that funnel and you say, hey, welcome to Gotchi Gang, if you want to play the metaverse, it's going to be 300 USD. Like, it's very, very hard to convince people, as we've seen how, with
Yeah,
with the
Musashi is
level of
right.
new
There is a
players.
rental market. There is a rental market, and we always kind of forget about this
No, I
kind
don't
of option.
forget about it, but as a free to play player, sure, I can rent your gotchi. It's not. I don't feel like I have like an ownership of it though.
You
I
don't, by
I said
definition.
I can't think of another game that really focuses on, like, another MMORPG, I should say, that focuses on come rent this thing for $1 and play the game. So it's a bit of a weird thing to explain and try to convince people to be excited about.
But I really don't think that there could be a solution that gonna like give you the same experience as you own the Gotchi. Because if we're gonna bring some kind of other asset that gonna be able to do the same things as our Gotchis that we have, I'm not really sure what's gonna be.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's not something anyone's really excited about. So tricky design problem. Like I said, we've generally solved it with SFA and Guardians, but because an MMORPG is more skill based and progression based.
Yo,
I'm
what if we
seeing
just gonna bring the liquidators town and people who coming to play for free, they can be able to build their own stuff, and they're gonna be a competition between the liquidators town and the Gotchi town. If you're looking for the way that like cutting the grass, building stuff, and all of that, why not to go the opposite side and make them build their own stuff?
Then we're creating two games, bro. It's
So I don't know.
limited
It's just just
bandwidth as well.
brainstorming right now.
I mean, that's a cool
Yeah.
idea. No, that's a very cool idea. I could see that being really fun, but yeah, like dev resources, bro, like that's hard. I
Resources
would
in
love that
Chimic.
though. No, I mean dev resources. Like we don't have
Oh yeah.
that many devs to be able to build a whole other ecosystem for the liquidators and then have them fight. Like, unless we mirrored the Gotchiverse and just made it.
But if we have ambitions, we have fundings right from the curve and all of that.
Mm. I'm seeing a lot of like interesting ideas, possibly a combination. Like Al had an idea of a base avatar that was a very average gotchi, no chance of getting high BRS, but pay to mint unlimited edition. And then Crypto OG said something like a tiny gotchi. What if we had a combination of those two, where we had basically a little mini gotchi, so you could differentiate them visually, and then it was free to mint or play or whatever, but it had no BRS. Like it doesn't come with
Yeah.
a base BRS, and then you can equip it with whatever wearables you want, but you're starting with 0. So like, good luck, dude.
Possible, I guess.
Well, the issue there is we also have another problem, which is we literally run out of wearables. If there is any sort of adoption, we're running out of wearables very quickly.
Isn't that a good problem?
It's a
Yeah,
good
we can
problem, but it's
always make
also
a new.
it's a chicken and egg problem, because people be like, "Oh, I can't get wearables." Fuck, like, it doesn't feel good.
Once we get to that
Yeah.
point, though, we'll just make more wearables if we need to make more wearables. I mean, or
No, we won't,
we have
because people will say, "Oh, don't make more wearables because it dilutes my the people want to see the floor price of wearables go up too." So there's a fine line between, yes, we're getting a lot of new players, let's make more, and we need to we want to keep the floor price high, so let's not do anything.
But look, on
yes.
the other side, we're gonna hit the wall with the rarity farming rewards soon. So I'm not sure, like, what is the solution in this case.
But we still have holes to fill in the wearable meta. So like, it's not like we won't be diluting stuff yet. There's still lots of runway there. Like sets
One
that
idea we
don't
had
exist
was
right now.
wearable cloning, where you could like clone a version of a wearable, but you'd have to pay it to the owner of the wearables. I don't know if it would work or not, because it will be, if we did actually let people equip wearables like these little gotchis that you guys are saying, we will run out of wearables like super quick. We're basically already kind of out of wearables, and if we increase the supply of like these fake little gotchis to 100K or something, like we can't dress them all.
But what's the point for the gotchis that have no BRS to have variables at the first place?
Like
So they could have
mechanism.
like benefits in other mini games and things. I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't need wearables. I mean, you just
So
play as
they
a
can
normal
fish.
Gotchiverse. You're just chilling in the Citadel. You don't need wearables. Maybe probably be the first thing to try. So yeah, it's a really interesting problem. I mean, NFT metaverses have we're kind of in the class of 2021 in terms of where we are as an NFT ecosystem. The new the Zoomer class from 2024 just started with free to play avatars for everyone. That's kind of that's the meta. So we're in a unique position to find a forge a path forward with this. Something I think about a lot, and it's my main worry about the Gotchiverse. I think it's the work we're doing right now is going to be is actually going to end up with a pretty cool place to hang out. But we need a way to be able to, like, for No Future to be like going to guys on spaces and be like, you should jump in and come, like if we had a fishing mini game or something, come fish with me, bro. Like, let's hang out in the Gotchiverse. We can kind of do that
Yeah,
with an observer, but it feels a little bit different.
Okay,
yeah,
look,
like
I
Yeah.
just playing with my mind about Liquidator's Town. Just imagine you have an event for the fishing, right? And that lake is somewhere in between the Gotchi's Town and the Liquidator's Town, and both guys going there and fighting each other, and who wins gets the fish.
That doesn't sound that far removed from I mean it's a little different, but we were talking about the other day. How about imagine a dozen gotchis fishing at Raffle Pond, and then usually you pull out something nice. You pull out whatever, a mackerel, and then one of you guys pulls out a liquidator, a level 3 liquidator, and it starts zapping everybody. You risk losing everything. So yeah, you got to always be on guard. But that is more of a a liquidator as an NPC, not literally fishing next to people that don't own Aavegotchis, so they show up as liquidators. It's an interesting concept. It's definitely not where my first thought goes, but I like the brainstorm.
But I think
I always thought I always thought
do
that we are
people
going the way as the of Warcraft did. So I'm not sure what's the struggle, but okay, it's up to you guys. It's your game.
well, World of Warcraft, you can literally just pay money to get an avatar, and you're leveling that specific avatar up. But I think
Mm.
one key difference here is if we did start introducing skills like cooking or fishing, pretty metaverse kind of or MMORPG staple kind of stuff, that it would be to the player profile, not the gotchi that you're playing with. Or it could be the gotchi, but there's also, if there were like free to play gotchis, those trades would also be linked to that. So you can have your MMORPG World of Warcraft avatar, but it kind of sucks because it's not a real gotchi. I don't know. It's it's a tricky little problem here. But yeah, I wanted
But
to raise that as we talk,
it
if we get
just
closer to the Gotchiverse and kind of set
it,
give the community a sense of what we're thinking about and some of the decisions we might have to make on that front.
I'm just not sure why we are so concentrated about the gotchas only. I'm just talking like Liquidators could be its own race with its own stats and all of
Hmm.
that, but
Well, we're
mm,
not really remotely close to the grid right now. We're focused on the Citadel, making sure that the Citadel is a fun place. So licks really can't, they're not allowed to exist in the Citadel.
yeah, that's what I'm pointing about, that we can make the camp of them somewhere behind of it, like away, I don't know. Just like keep continue about the stuff that I got in my mind. But okay, whatever, let's see what is it gonna be. I'm just afraid that you guys gonna be looped in the idea of building the stuff and inside the Gotchiverse, and there still be no much of the hooks to bring new players to like to have to play against someone. Like, yeah, we're
Mhm.
having fun inside the citadel, just like fun, but not much of competitions besides the mini games.
Well, it's a metaverse first and foremost, and there's all the other games. I think Dan raises this because we don't want too much friction for, like, specifically people that are like on a game night with no futuristic. That's a good example, Dan. Um, Anybody should be able to hop in and have a good time in the Gotchiverse. And the trick is with a lot of the crypto metaverses that I've had experience with personally is like you hop in and there's no friction. There's no like special NFT you have to hold. You can just go to voxels.com. You can just go to Decentraland and they give you a free avatar. So the obvious answer is observers, except I think nobody likes observers. Like there's no personality there. Let's be honest, guys. Like, does anybody really love the observers? So maybe
What
the answer is just some sort of lore-based secondary character that isn't an Aavegotchi. Maybe it's not a lick, but
right?
it checks enough boxes that you can hang out.
I've had a thought on this before. I called them wild gotchis. Like they're basically Gotchiverse native gotchis, and they don't have like a human owner that kind of owns has bonded with them through the Great Portal. They're kind of just like wild gotchis that you're playing.
Why can't we open the
I think
gates
they'll
for any kind of NFT holders, like all of that avatars or wherever, like I don't know, apes and the other guys that can be like somehow being made like graphics and all of that.
You can. It's a ton of work. It is really hard to balance unless they're all literally just basically the same. Like there was one game, World Wide Web, that kind of started out doing that, but then they realized after about a year, I think, of development, they're like, actually, this shit is really hard to balance because every community, if you want to do it right, every community should feel a little bit different. But balancing that is a mess. So
You mean
what
balancing
Pixels has
some
done is
battle
you just
stats
kind
and
of
stuff?
it's called Soulbound. Yeah. What Pixels does is everyone is kind of playing the same. So yes, we could do that, but we also do need a free-to-play version, whether it's a little gotchi or a wild gotchi skinned as an ape, maybe could work. But there's got to be some free-to-play kind of option. So at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's just whether it's a free gotchi skinned as a gotchi or a free gotchi skinned as an ape, whatever.
Maybe
But
we should
anyway,
start a thread about talking about brainstorming about this. And yeah, this
yep.
is a hour already.
Yeah, let's get into the DAO hour, friends.
It's DAO time.
Thanks for the input.